All right, Saints Nation, welcome back. Just about to get started with our third match of the afternoon. We do have, of course, St. Clair up against Shawnee State Bears, and both teams right now looking to keep their win streak alive. They're both sitting 2-0 currently in the bracket, which if you do want to follow along at home, exclamation mark bracket in the Twitch chat, will bring up the current standings now as well. So keep track of that as we move forward, but Shawnee State unusual picks, it looks like, but could be an interesting one. What do you think for this matchup coming up, Shadi?
Yeah, Shawnee had some really kind of off-meta picks. We saw Maokai, Diana, Fiddlesticks come out, among some others, looking back at games 1 and 2 for them. But so far, they are tied for first with our St. Clair squad for that first place spot. So this should be a really good match. I'm hoping having the two top contenders in the tournament so far facing off so early, just before the midway portion should really give us a good picture of what the rest of the day is going to look like. And I'm excited going into this game 3. I really want to see how well we do. This is going to be my last game on the desk here. So I'm really hoping it's a banger. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out.
We'll have to see, and we're going to get started. Ban time here for game number 3. So it looks like Shawnee State instantly getting rid of the Olaf and Camille that we saw St. Clair use in the last matchup. Meanwhile, on the side of St. Clair, they got rid of the Ezreal, which is the AD carry of choice, it seems, right now for Mitch Fortune, just coming off a 16 elimination game and 1 death. So, shutting that one down before it gets started.
Yeah, really good performance from Mitch Fortune in a previous game. The Camille obviously being a target ban against Frez in the top lane. The Olaf is not really a pick we see too often from Trick, but it did pop off very hard last game. Although I wonder if this Olaf ban from SSU, kind of implies that they might be going for something CC heavy like the Morgana. And there's the Caitlyn Morgana right there as we're talking about it. It's that CC combo that really just kind of the only thing that beats it is CC break. Like the only way you can get through that just constant chain of CC is having a way to run them down. And what better to do it than a champion that can press R and fly at you from across the map.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely a smart ban for Olaf if the Caitlyn Morgana is the pick of choice. And I think this kind of pushes the Lucian pick to the mid lane for St. Clair. So it kind of loses its flex pick value here. We actually do see the AD carry now being picked up for Lazi in the bottom lane. There's the Jhin being selected now. Probably looking for a good, strong partner for that Jhin. Typically, Jhin Bard, the very common combination. We do also see Jhin being picked up with maybe some more passive supports like the Tom Kench as kind of a way to support it. And here's the Karma. The Jhin Karma is kind of like the OG Jhin Bard setup.
Okay.
Karma is a very kind of interesting lane into Morgana. She has a way of breaking that spell shield without really overcommitting CC. And she does have a lot of movement for the Jhin. So far, a decent response from St. Clair. But their jungle and top lane picks are going to have to be very CC heavy in order for this comp to find any kind of value moving into the late game without any way of blocking champions down for those damage dealers. It's going to be tricky to get kills in this game.
And it looks like now for the mid lane, we got the Ziggs coming out, the humble gamer for Shawnee State Bears. Played that in the last game as well. And from what I had seen in the lobby, they said they had an 8 dragon slobber knocker. So that one went a while, and who better to clear out minion waves constantly than a Ziggs to help push or help defend? Wasn't necessarily the highest in regards to getting eliminations on the squad, but was always a part of it one way or another, just adding on additional damage. So an interesting pick that we don't see too often coming out from Shawnee State Bears, as Keen and Gragas get taken off the table. St. Clair, not really known for Gragas, however the Mordekais are getting taken off. We're kind of starting to limit Frez's top lane champ pool here. Does still have Ornn available, and Jen's taken off the table as well. So yeah, might see something new out of him.
Yeah, this lineup from Shawnee State right now looks very Siege-like. It's long range, it's wave clear, it's tower pushing. And Siege comps are very strong when they're given the freedom to run around the map. But their biggest weakness is that they're very vulnerable to picks and engages. Like
Right.
they don't want to get picked off. They don't want to have champions like assassins diving into the backline. And although the mid lane has already been picked for St. Clair, there is the possibility that we see an assassin or fighter style champion being picked up for Frez in the top lane. That being said, Maokai comes in as a response. This is kind of seems like a very familiar composition for Shawnee. They seem to like this style of play, using the Maokai ulti to kind of push the tower dive while your long range characters poke out. It's very similar to a Zoe Ezreal style of play with the Ziggs. But for St. Clair, they have some options to go for the tank. They actually banned the Ornn away, which I was going to suggest is a really strong pick. But here's the Scion, which kind of accomplishes a very similar role, right? It's a big, beefy tank that wants to get to the back line, and that's exactly what St. Clair is looking for right now. We're probably going to see Trick pick up a similar champion, something that has the ability to get to the back line and dive. Otherwise, it's going to be tricky for St. Clair to break through here. And there's the Lilia. Definitely struggles against the Morgana, but there is the potential to get these mass sleeps and engage from a range with the Sleepy Dream Ball on the E there to set up for the Jhin route for the Scion ultimate. So they're going to have to be looking for these picks in the back line, probably using the Lucian as a flanker in this game. But Shawnee State, hovering that Hecarim. It's pretty scary right now. Looking at St. Clair's lineup, they don't have a lot of responses to the horse currently on their draft.
It's definitely an interesting pick, considering so much of this Shawnee State team has been focused around poking and sieging, that you just pick a hard engage, I suppose, there with the Hecarim. But I guess eventually you need a go button, and Hecarim could be it.
With the siege comps, you like to combine siege with dive, so that when you start breaking down these towers, as you're poking them away with your long range damage, as Ziggs keeps throwing these bombs out, as Morgana is tagging people with these Qs, you have that flanking Hecarim come in from the side and clean up those kills before the enemy team has a chance to disengage. That being said, if St. Clair is able to clear out waves effectively using Jhin and Karma in the middle lane, you can have the Lucian and the Scion go for a flank while Lilia looks for a pickoff with that Dream Bubble. And if you can get a good sleep off, the team fight should go St. Clair's way. It really comes down to how these teams execute their drafts and how Shawnee looks for advantages on the map to use the Ziggs package to blow up towers from 25% health or lower, the one-shot button on those towers. Combine that with a Rift Herald, it's going to have to be very scary for St. Clair unless they can find a way to control those Rift Heralds on the top side of the map.
Definitely good insight there, because here I am thinking that's weird, but you're letting me know, no, this is the standard, this is the way it should be done, and it definitely makes sense. Thank you, of course, once again. It's been a solid afternoon casting with you. Keep it up, you're doing fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. I really enjoy being on the caster's desk with you and getting to watch these games live. It's really fun for me to get to see the varsity team look like, how they play, and kind of see what is expected or what you want to see at a competitive collegiate level. I work with a club team, obviously, on campus, and it's really a good opportunity for me to learn more about the game as I'm doing this. So thank you so much for the opportunity to do this, and thank you to the teams in participating in these tournaments so that I get to cast these games. Speaking of the teams, we have not yet been introduced to the Shawnee State lineup, so let's take a look at what we're working with here. In the top lane, currently on the Maokai is PXX Arctic Wolf. In the jungle is Jerbear on the Hecarim. The middle lane, the Humble Gamer, going to be taking the Ziggs, most likely. Mitch Fortune on the Caitlyn pick. And Godzilla Flip on the Morgana. A pretty scary bot lane, a very irritating mid lane. I hate laning against Ziggs with a passion. So very strong mid-bot comp. So with this Hecarim being able to kind of put that pressure down on those lanes and give them lane priority, it's going to be tough for St. Clair to control objectives in the early game. They're going to have to look to make space on other sides of the map and really kind of wait for these item power spikes so that they can get these dives off successfully and delete champions in the back before they get reverse engaged on.
Terrifying bot lane. Just the thought of a Godzilla Flip is terrifying enough, let alone their champion execution themselves. And apparently Mitch Fortune has been having a fantastic tournament so far, with 12 and 16 eliminations so far in the last 2 games. And the fact that this one, it's a nerve-wracking one, because both teams, like I was saying before, currently lossless in this tournament after the last 2 games. Somebody has to have that streak broken. And I mean, of course, you put yourself in a good start for making it into the championship Sunday. But at the same time, you want to have as much wiggle room as possible. You don't know what the next matches bring.
I have a lot of faith for St. Clair lineup here. I like the kind of theme behind the draft of like this long range initiation into a dive. Like you have the ability to access these picks from a range before transitioning into kind of that shorter range dive. That being said, if they're not able to get into close range, Ziggs and Caitlyn are going to be more than happy to poke you out from a distance. So looking at big Scion ulti rotations from Frez, if Frez can manage to gain lane priority in that top lane, clear out those waves with the big hammer, and then ult in onto the mid lane or onto the bot lane from base, might have to see some kind of big map rotations from Frez in order for this game to go out that way. I am a little nervous, however, that if top lane doesn't go Frez's way, St. Clair is going to have a really hard time gaining a hold over this game.
And it's a little bit odd considering, of course, this is the first time that we've seen Frez's Scion in competitive play in OPSC in this tournament, preseason even. Like, we've not seen it at all so far. So with top lane getting as targeted as it did, I'm curious how warmed up, how ready this Scion pick is. We're just getting ready for game number 3 here.
Scion's not a pick you really see very often, at least not in this meta, because usually you want your top lane to be able to have that split push pressure. You don't want to have to rely on your top lane for big team fights for the most part. Obviously, there are some exceptions. We see Ornn being so dominant just because of how much late game value he provides in all of those upgraded items. But Scion doesn't have that same ability. He's still a late game scaling tank, but it's mostly for him, right? Which means that you have to provide some value to that top lane. Like Scion has to have a good lane. And if Scion doesn't have a good lane, and your other lanes aren't doing so hot either, like you don't really have a way back into this game. Scion is your way back into this game. Getting Frez to be that monster tank. Which means that it's going to be tricky to kind of pilot the macro around the map. You don't want to concede too many dragons, but if you go bot lane, then Scion loses grasp top lane, and then Hecarim gets a herald, and then all of a sudden it's just kind of snowballing out of control. So it's looking to really take advantages of the spaces in lane when you have those advantages. It's going to be seeing Yule pop off into the Ziggs matchup is going to be really big for this game. It's going to be seeing Trick out jungling Jerbear with his clear times and kind of taking advantage of the macro of the game. That's really going to spell out how this game goes St. Clair's way.
I'll be really interested looking towards this mid lane, of course. Like, Ziggs, obviously going to be poking for days with his first ability, just lobbing bombs constantly at Yule. But at the same time, I feel like Yule could probably like sidestep it and get aggressive himself. So I would not be surprised to see a little bit of extra jungler love towards the mid lane to snowball one of these. I mean, Ziggs may be poke based, but at the same time, can definitely do a boatload of damage if left unattended. And I mean, we've seen Yule's Lucian already this tournament to the point where just like two shots are like chunking people for a quarter HP, like tanks at that. And then I'm also kind of worried about the bot lane, both like kind of like CG, but at the same time, I guess you got the Karma from Yensfo, a little bit of additional support plus a little bit of poke. And then finally, Trick's Lilia got left on the board. So this is something we've seen him play pretty consistently through the preseason, through the OPSC, but the first time it's actually being let through in tournament play.
It's a really strong pick for sure. And I like it as a response to the Hecarim because it has relatively similar clear time. Even though the Hecarim has like a better early game, that Lilia does give you the ability to engage from a range without necessarily putting yourself in harm's way. So Trick is going to be a big factor in how this game plays out for sure. And we're just getting loaded up onto the Rift here. I'm excited to see how things go. We're 0 seconds now. Our champions are just loading in. This is game number 3, St. Clair versus Shawnee State. Let's see what happens.
Definitely looking forward to this one. Like I was saying before, just to put yourself in that better position as we move forward in this tournament. And I transition over, but we already have a pause, it looks like. So hang on tight just a little bit longer as loading in. So Of course, before this match begins, I do want to give the shout out to the sponsors, of course, that do make this happen. St. Clair College, Zekelman School of Business Technology, St. Clair SRC, Tim Hortons, St. Clair College Alumni Association, and PC Outlet. And now, the pause is over. We can hop into the game momentarily here. Game 3, finally underway.
And here, we're going to see how these players line up here for this initial fight. It looks like just a traditional 5-point coming up from St. Clair. Although the Morgana is available for Shawnee, there is the potential to go for an invade. But it looks like Shawnee's happy kind of playing a slow early game here and just setting up themselves in their lanes in a traditional way.
Yeah, nice quiet start so far, and that's got to get out of the way here. Second. A little bit of extra damage added over to Jer-Bear, but nothing too insane as of this moment.
It is important to note here that Miansfo has gone for the Relic Shield take onto the Karma. The Binding gets actually landed here on to Ozzy with the trap follow-up. The Ignite gets committed as well. There's the Flash.
Yikes.
That's really rough at the bottom lane. Actually choosing to use the Flash rather than the Cleanse. I guess Lozzy was not aware that there was a Caitlyn trap start. Typically, the trap is a great follow-up for the Binding, which is why this Caitlyn Morgana lane is just so oppressive. But yeah, it's going to be a rough start for the bot lane now with that Flash going down. For the support lane, though, the Relic Shield take on Miansfo means that they will have a little bit of extra push power in this lane, but it means that he will not be able to kind of gather any of that extra gold value from those Q pokes in this matchup. So they're really going to be looking to kind of shove out these waves and avoid fights as much as possible. Is kind of the information we're getting from that choice there.
And now Lassie's probably going to be a little bit more behind Mitch Fortune and Godzilla Flip as this goes on. Just arriving to the lane now. So a couple minions probably gone down prior to his arrival. Maybe only 1 or 2, but that could very well mean the difference between a like a level spike or not. Granted, Caitlyn Morgana isn't like as crazy as like being a level down on a Leona or something like that, but could still take to effect. Trick is going to get caught out, however. Humble Gamer on pursuit with Jer-Bear. First blood goes over to Humble Gamer, and Yule is looking like he's going to be in a bad spot. He really wanted to take Humble Gamer down, but with Humble Gamer going all the way back towards his red buff, it was just letting Jer-Bear have open season on him, forced to flash over. And first blood, Shawnee State.
Trick going for the late delayed Raptor invade, already kind of low on HP, was a little over aggressive, I would say, especially with the Ziggs being so close. You did have the Lucian follow-up, but neither one of those champions provide any crowd control. Not until that Lilia hits level 6, which means there's no possibility to lock or slow down this Hecarim. You kind of just have to take that damage. And now Ziggs with a red buff. Before Yule was bullying him in this lane, the Humble Gamer has no shame just walking up and getting those auto attacks and knowing that the Hecarim is behind. There's the kill, a second kill now for Shawnee State here. And this bot lane too, it's just the lanes are not going very well currently for St. Clair. It's just a lot to deal with in these matchups.
The classic League of Legends meme is baited and outsmarted. Well, unfortunately there for Yule, he walked right into that. Humble Gamer, oh, help me, I can't win this fight. Here comes the pony. Jer-Bear right there with enough burst damage to take Yule out. Bad time.
There too, because we know the Hecarim's top side. He's just cleared the Raptor pit after killing Trick. So we know the Hecarim's on red buff. He clears the red buff and he's right there mid again. So I think Yule kind of just thought he had the damage to kill it quick enough and just couldn't find the kill he was looking for. But there's that kind of Jin Karma poke combo there. You get the Q into the slow and you transition that into the root. But now with Hecarim walking bot side, Godzilla Flip has no problem just committing here. Very actually well played use of the Morgana Q spacing. He walks up looking like he's going to hit Lozzy and just immediately turns onto Miansfo and gets the easy kill in front. So even though Lozzy is the priority kill, they're happy to take out that Karma and he used that kill to get lane priority there. So Shawnee really taking advantage of this game here. 3-0 in 4 minutes.
Jer-Bear is going to be an absolute terror here if he keeps this up. Already sitting there with 2 eliminations in this game and being part of a third all over the map so far, putting his fellow laners ahead. All except Arctic Wolf up here, who, to be honest, Arctic Wolf is doing fine for himself right here. Just barely outside of his turret, just farming up the best he can, currently in the lead. And right now, Shawnee State just seems to have their game plan on lock. It's looking good.
And this Ziggs pickup from the Humble Gamer actually going into the Seeker's arm guard right away means that he's looking to play a very safe lane here against this Lucian and deny a lot of that Lucian poke damage. Probably could have gone for the Lost Chapter for a more aggressive start, but this defensive start means that he knows his role in the game, and his role is just to survive and smack towers. He is not looking for a montage here. He's not looking to be the team's carry. He's just going to hit towers like a truck. And he's already kind of playing into that win condition with this build choice here. We actually see a call getting picked up in the mid lane for Yule. Yule, knowing that this lane is not going the way he would like it to go, and decides to take more of a passive approach to the laning phase. But there, as I'm saying that, here goes Yule with the ultimate ability. The barrier is down. There is a flash currently available with a really nice level 6 abuse from Yule there. That Seeker's arm guard armor, though, keeping Humble Gamer alive through that trade, and walks out alive.
Made the difference and even had enough discipline, knowing the how far he can push his character, using the satchel as the only escape he needs. Still hung on to that flash and has it for later if he'll want to try something over aggressive onto him again. So nice discipline here from the Humble Gamer.
In the top lane here, it's kind of just a slow trade back and forth. But as we look towards the bottom side, AM Trick clearing out his jungles, making his way towards this dragon. I don't see a situation where Sinclair manages to take this dragon effectively. We already see Jerbear posturing on top of it, looking for that scuttle crab, looking for maybe an opportunity to take the dragon now that he has lane priority in the bottom side. I believe he is currently starting it already. The direct camera kind of debating us a little bit, but it looks like the dragon take is happening currently, and I believe that's a mountain drake as well as going to go the side of Shawnee State here. But in the top lane, just a little trading back and forth. It's two big tanks just slapping away at each other.
Yeah, the classic wet noodle fight up here in the top lane with so much regen but so little damage. They basically just go back and forth for days. And yeah, Jerbear had Humble Gamer helping him out just a little bit, but uncontested, going to take that dragon as bot lane it cannot move. They're right underneath their turret and still taking harassment on top of that. Of course, Caitlyn and her range is one of the few champions that can still harass you somewhat effectively under the tower. And Lassie's going to be forced to back away. Mensfu could probably get a couple extra shots in, but probably has to look to back out sometime soon as well.
And it's really kind of unfortunate in that bot lane that there was so much poke damage taken. Trick was postured in a position looking like he might actually get himself ready for a gank. But with taking all that damage under their tower, it's really hard to initiate any sort of fight when your carries is already so low. Lazzie's here on 20% health. He's almost in range of dying just to a Caitlyn ult. The Hecarim is over the wall with the ultimate available. Might go for a dive here, but it looks like Jerbear's just going to back off and clear his bot side.
Being wise on him, he doesn't have to. The ult's coming out here from Arctic Wolf, and the odd little 1v1 might get this traded out if Frez can make the zombie work for him, but he's just going to opt for some minions. So we were saying it was a wet noodle fight with no damage, and then Arctic Wolf just makes me eat my words, apparently, finding that solo kill. I don't often see Malachi's getting solo kills. That's kind of weird.
It was really well played from Arctic Wolf. He had set up saplings into the brush. Every time he walked into that brush, he threw a sapling in it on cooldown. So when he engaged that fight on Frez, he uses the push to slam Frez into all the saplings, then rooting him in place with the ultimate follow-up as well. And Frez just took a ton of damage that he wasn't expecting. It was a wet noodle fight with a bazooka on top of it.
That's definitely a bad time. Okay, nicely done there from Mule to try and dodge, but this is not going to go in his favor at all. Trick there with Hot Pursuit, going to find the kill, getting the finishing blow. Otherwise, Yule probably would have went down as well. So at least St. Clair going to get on the board here with the first kill going over to Trick.
Yeah, that fancy footwork from Yule to dodge that last cascading bomb as it's flying away from Humble Gamer. That's a really good and important kill for this mid lane. We need Yule to pop off in this game for St. Clair. Otherwise, it's going to be tricky to find a space back into this game. The bot lane CS differential is currently about 12, and it's only going to increase with the way that this lane is going. Caitlyn currently up a pickaxe on Blasi, which is a ton of damage in this bot lane fight. Much stronger there for the Caitlyn with the Hecarim set up in position, probably looking for a dive. Blasi's going to have to shove this wave out now, or he's not going to find that opportunity later. There's the Q. The Karma going for the ward might get caught out here, but actually Jerbear playing it slow and giving St. Clair the time to reset under their tower, not taking advantage of that misposition there.
And not overextending. St. Clair going to go back, and of course with Lassie's Jhin, it's not exactly a very mobile champion. So had Jerbear found the right opportunity, it could have been curtains there for Lassie, as only the flash would have been his only real mobility. This battle in the top side definitely going in the favor of Arctic Wolf. Nicely done, chunking down Frez pretty quickly, actually.
That Bramble Vest into the Bomby Cinder is just so much damage in the 1v1. Like, if it just stands on top, right? It's just so much damage. But here comes the Hecarim pushing Yule back into the Ziggs bomb. Yule does have the sustain to get out of there alive, surviving through the Hecarim ulti. We see Trick rotating in with the ball. Miansfo in position to keep him alive. But yeah, this top lane, you're standing inside of a Bramble Vest and a Bomby Cinder at all times. Like, that's, if you try to auto attack back, you're taking more damage than you're dealing, even if Arctic Wolf is just standing still.
Makes sense. So explains with Frez just does not quite have the damage to make those trades even worth it. So this is going to be probably farm or nothing here for him, as we see the Ace and Hole come down on the bot side, but Lassie and Miansfo going to get out with their lives intact as Humble Gamer made their rotation. But we do have the Rift Herald. Shelly going to come out and get us a couple of plates if we're lucky. Oh, 2 or 3 there. But now they have to run for the hills. Everyone's on their way.
Before the Ziggs walked bot, Mitch Fortune and Godzilla had taken 4 plates in the 2v2. By 11 minutes, they'd taken 4 plates with no jungle assistance, relatively no jungle assistance at all. The bot lane really going the way of Caitlyn Morgana, and that's kind of the power of these siege comps, is you have so much range, it's so hard to set up under tower. You do all this damage, and then all of a sudden Ziggs just walks by, presses a button, and goes on his merry way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if there's plates, it's less than 25% health, it just pops. So quick gold bonus for the Caitlyn now, with Jhin, Lassie having the BF sword and the Swifty boots completed, to Caitlyn's Infinity Edge. Like, the damage difference from these 80 carries is insane. And as the second Drake fight breaks out here, we actually see Frez rotating down. We see Arctic Wolf rotating down. It's going to be a bloodbath here, and I don't think St. Clair has the damage to take it. Their builds are too slow, and they're too behind on gold. It's going to be really scary here getting set up for this.
If this is a 5-on-5, I don't think there's any chance, like you're saying, that St. Clair pulls this off. If they can manage to find a pick, maybe then we're talking. However, even still, there's so much damage on the side of Shawnee State right now. They're going to get aggressive with it. They're going to try anyway. Dragon is started. Trick face tanking this, and that Dragon does some pretty decent damage onto them. I don't think they can do this. They're going to try. Dragon is going to go over to Trick, however, but a big engage in the pit. If there was ever a time for a Hecarim ulti, that was definitely it. Everybody running for the hills. Lassie going to try and make something happen from up top, but I don't think anybody's going to fall on the side of Shawnee State. Meanwhile, two do go down. So a 2 for a Dragon. I guess it could have been worse, but holy smokes, that was risky.
It looked like there was a little bit of hesitation from Shawnee, waiting for that perfect opportunity to engage. But Trick and Lassie both escaped with like 1 health from that fight. And if Caitlyn had managed to just get an extra auto attack in there, that could have been nearly a team wipe. So really sketchy fight for sure. The plus side, as you said, the silver lining obviously is that the Dragon goes St. Clair's way. But the gold advantage right now, currently 3k gold advantage for Shawnee State, and that's not really considering where that gold currently is. All of that gold, or most of that gold, is on the Caitlyn, it's on the Ziggs. And these are the champions you don't want to be giving gold to in the early game, because they're just going to eat your towers if you do.
And of course, just keep eating towers, and that's even more gold in the pocket for Shawnee State in this situation. And then even Jerbear, of course, getting a couple eliminations himself, nearly ready with that Trinity Force just around the corner. Sheen and Phage ready to go here. And then Arctic Wolf, he's a pretty beefy member of the squad as well. And then, I mean, Godzilla Flip, as long as he's hitting his bindings, he's doing his job and keeping the members of Shawnee State alive with that spell shield. it doesn't necessarily matter what kind of stats he's packing, because he's not there for damage. He's just there for the support. And he'd be doing his job just fine. As we see Arctic Wolf jump onto Frez once again. Little minions, not going to go at Frez this time by, and it's back to Wet Noodle fight territory.
It's worth noting that the Morgana has nearly completed her Hourglass, which means that she's going to have the ability to use that ultimate engage regularly, walk right into the line of St. Clair, and just pop that Zhonya's, and all of a sudden it's a complete zone of control that's been gained for Shawnee. When that zone of control is set up, then all the Caitlyn and Ziggs have to do is throw their damage, and St. Clair can't stay and fight. They have to run away. So once that Hourglass comes up, it's going to be a massive power spike for Shawnee. So we'll have to see how that affects the next Herald fight as that breaks out on the top side of the map. It should be coming up momentarily. But here in the bottom lane, Yule, even though he's behind, he is up in CS, and he does have enough damage to kind of put some pressure on the Humble Gamer in this matchup, being able to dive on top of that Ziggs and close that range gap. But with a blue buff there, should just be able to keep whipping bombs away from safe distance and clear out this lane safely.
If St. Clair find their opportunity where they're on top of Humble Gamer, they can still win that. Like, Yule can still win that fight, and he nearly did. Just a matter of if Humble Gamer gets the opportunity to get some poke damage prior to. And in that case, he definitely didn't. Yule, full health, ready to go. And actually, Humble Gamer, again, we've seen this earlier, baiting Yule to his demise. Jerbear finding a third kill in this matchup. That Hecarim's supposed to be a bit beefy, but he's already packing a fantastic punch here against St. Clair.
Yeah, Yule loves those 1v1 opportunities, and sometimes he loves them even if they're not truly 1v1. You don't have enough information to make that play, and unfortunately gets punished for it from the Hecarim rotation. But here on the top side, getting set up for this Herald, there's going to be about 3 minutes to clear it. Once it comes up, Frez doing what he can to regain some lane control here, with Trick having finished his bot side clear. I expect a rotation up into the top side of the map. Looking at that Herald, the Hecarim is already in position, and the bot lane is actually recalling from middle. This could just be a Herald take for Shawnee if they make the read here on the map and decide to punish that mistake.
We'll have to see. We see Misfortune pushing forward. That's going to be a mid turret if Saints aren't careful. We do see the bot lane, of course, making their way towards the center, but it may be too little, too late, as it does go down. So that center, or the mid lane, is all opened up now for Shawnee to try and abuse. Humble Gamer getting jumped on again, but Yule a little bit more hesitant this time. Not going to go in right away. And now, of course, the Herald is being looked at. See in a second if Shawnee do manage to pay attention, or not pay attention, but if they do get a glimpse of it. Okay, ult's coming out here from Lassie as well. Shots fired, but they're not going to find their mark. Godzilla Flip just going to stand in the way, get Mitch Fortune to stop moving, but that may have been enough time to actually sneak this Herald. Trick going to pick this one up, and objective complete.
I don't even know if it was a sneak. I think Shawnee just didn't care. Like, they had all the resources set up to take that Herald, and it's an objective that, I mean, synergizes with their composition very well, but they seem more concerned with these Dragon Takes. We see a fight breaking out in the mid lane. Arctic Wolf engaging onto Trick. There's the Ziggs all getting committed. Doesn't find much. Godzilla with the flash ulti only finds Mansfell. Mansfell flashing over the wall, getting picked off by Jared Borg. Godzilla actually cleaning up the kill. Lazi getting ulted on in the back. Does pop the cleanse. The Caitlyn ult, ace in the hole, comes down. It does connect. It slides right by Trick, but Lazi surviving by the skin of his teeth. Lucian taking out that tower in the bottom side while all of this is happening mid lane. And Frez hasn't even found an opportunity to get into the fight. It's a fully healthy team for Shawnee against the soon-to-be dead mid tower. It doesn't even need the Ziggs bomb, but he throws it there just for spite. And that's the mid-tier 2 down at 18 minutes.
That's definitely a rough time for St. Clair, but not all hope is lost. That engage was kind of weird. They went to the mid with Shelly to get that turret, but they know that the dragon was just taken out, so I'm surprised that they were so caught off guard by essentially the entire team of Shawnee State being there, ready for the engage. But we're going to see another one come on out here as Frez dives in onto the Humble Gamer. Bomb right on top, doing some massive damage, but Humble Gamer is going to finally go down here. But now St. Clair is a group, and as a unit, they're able to take out the 2 from Shawnee.
That was a really good punish by Frez to know that that's the opportunity to make that strike. Unfortunately, killing Arctic Wolf with Humble Gamer doesn't do too much for the win con. It does reduce Shawnee's ability to clear out waves, but right now Caitlyn and Hecarim are the key to kill targets, and both of them managed to get out of that without really having to deal with too much pressure here. Lazi committing the ultimate here onto the Morgana, looking for some more poke damage, maybe looking to synergize with the Scion here. There's the 4th hit, but it doesn't do too much. Fred's actually getting caught out of position, picked off, blown up by Mitch Fortune. Jerbear diving into the background. There's Niansvo going down. He's just going to spin to win on top of Lazi here. Lazi actually managing to kite. Jerbear does go down. That's a 600 gold transfer to Lazi. But Arctic Wolf committing the vines here, looking for the chase. There's the root onto Yule. We're going to see the follow-up root. The Ziggs bolt comes down from the skies above, and Yule goes down as well. AM Trick going to walk out of that one. And this is going to be a really good opportunity for Shawnee to get some vision and set up around this Baron. Maybe take out this top tower and control this top side of the map. Trick is actually staying here on the Gromp. Godzilla has vision of him, but rather than going for the Q, he tries to steal and doesn't get it. Forces up the smite. Wow.
There is some execution choices here being done by St. Clair that's definitely boggling my mind. Like, this game can be a game of seconds sometimes. Like, an additional 2 seconds of standing still is just enough time to get yourself out of position. Was that curtain call necessary? What were you shooting for there? Because obviously they're trying to take care of Godzilla Flip, but it's not like Godzilla Flip was already low.
Like, I think at this point in the game, St. Clair's looking for that kill to get them back into the game. They're looking for that big burst of gold. Godzilla Flip, he's only 1-0, but he's still worth a decent amount of gold. There is like bounty gold on that. There's obviously just the base 300 gold, which is the big boost right now when you're looking for these items. And St. Clair just really trying whatever they can to find the picks when they can and get advantage of it. But it was a little bit of an overextension for sure. I think after the curtain call went down, they had the opportunity to disengage. And Frez walking forward to commit the hammer actually ended up baiting out a team fight that I don't think they wanted.
I mean, that would have probably been like somewhat even. It would have been a 3, maybe a 4 on 4 maximum had they went for that. But it just boggled me there because you whip out the curtain call. What's more immobile than Jin as he already is when he's forced to stand still because of that curtain call? It's an absolute open target, and Jerbear definitely punished. Lassie did get some shutdown golds in that fight nonetheless, so I guess a small victory in that regard. But definitely behind on items. We do see Frez charging in, but he's the only one anywhere near this. Arctic Wolf, granted, is not going to be doing that much damage, but Mitch Fortune is right around the corner. Mansfield is going to try and get his partner out of there, and that could have been bad. It looked like they wanted to take that team fight, but no one was in the proper position yet.
It is important to note, however, that Shawnee didn't have vision of St. Clair when that happened, and that ultimate from Scion actually forced out Mitch Fortune's flash over the wall. The flash was not necessary. As us as casters, we could see no one was in position to follow up. But when that Scion comes charging at you and he lands that knockup, it's scary, and sometimes it forces out these panic abilities. So Caitlyn not having flash available might actually be a ticket back into the game for St. Clair. However, trying to Fnatic gank brush from a warded bush doesn't work out in your favor, and Shawnee's going to be really quick to poke them out of that brush and reestablish himself in this middle lane.
Okay, one member rooted, however. Arctic Wolf getting peppered on as the Hecarim does take the dragon, but Arctic Wolf going to be the first casualty in this fight. Where is the Hecarim? He does have his ult available. He's charging in now, but it's not going to fear anybody. He's going to still be on hot pursuit. Yule taking a ton of damage in the meantime. Lassie almost going down as well. Yule finally taken down. Trick is going to be taken down. Mansfu is about to drop. Everybody from St. Clair is dropping, and the only casualty is Arctic Wolf. Ace for Shawnee State.
Actually looked like it could have been a decent fight. The Hecarim whiffed the ulti and was kind of out of position, but I think there was a Morgana spell shield that came down on top that prevented that last little bit of damage needed for that kill. But there was definitely the opportunity to turn there. It just looked like the target focus was slightly off in that team fight, and Shawnee's going to walk out of there with 4 surviving. This is going to be the inhibitor in the middle lane here, and likely get their eyes on Baron now at the 24-minute mark.
I just realized I got baited. Frez hanging on by a thread to not give the ace, but that was still 4 kills on the side of Shawnee State as Frez charges in headstrong here to maybe do some delaying as Yule's going to be trying to get a kill. Does get the shutdown, so I guess this is kind of worth. Can he manage to snag something additional? Not if that ace in the hole has anything to say about it, so is going to trade the 1-for-1, but at least gets the shutdown.
Yeah, that teleport being committed for that shutdown in the back, it's definitely good to get this gold here and to force this Hecarim off. But unfortunately, with Yule down, it's going to be hard for St. Clair to establish themselves anywhere and force a fight. Yule represents a lot of damage to this team right now. The Jhin ulti being committed again, the curtain call going down. Maokai is going to be happy to tank that fourth auto, but the slide around Yule or Lozzy with the pickoff in the back, rather. There's going to be here like a kill number 2 onto Arctic Wolf there. Miansfo going to walk out with barely surviving.
Oh my goodness.
So we see these teams walk out with a slither of health, but the Ziggs bomb coming down. Miansfo is going to be able to just shield boost himself out of there, and they're going to look to get some vision control on this Baron. Shawnee slipping a little bit with their lead, kind of giving some windows back for St. Clair to abuse here with some of these positioning errors.
If this keeps up as the game goes long, do you think that St. Clair can actually like scale their way to the point they get past Shawnee State? Or is like, I know that Caitlyn's constantly like notorious for being like mid-game kind of meh, but somewhat decent late. What do you think there's a way we can get past that?
The lineup on St. Clair's side is also relatively early game. That being said, there is the advantage if they have 2 carries as opposed to the 1 on the side of Shawnee. The Ziggs would represent a very big late game threat, but this build coming out is quite slow. It looks like he's building into the Leandries next, potentially the Morella Namacon.
Okay.
But having stopped for that Hourglass means that he's not going to have access to Rabadon's Death Cap for the next little while. And if St. Clair can abuse this window where Ziggs is outputting less damage than what he would like to be doing and kind of take advantage of that fact, there may be an opportunity back into this game, but it's got to happen fast, and they can't give the Baron first. Unjust as I say that, Trick making a questionable choice to put himself in harm's way right in front of the Baron, and Shawnee is just going to clear out this vision and get it started.
Yeah, you have no smite to contest this now, so this is basically going to be gift wrapped. We'll have to see if St. Clair could at least put enough damage on to make them think twice. But some of these curtain call shots are not even making a dent into the front line of Shawnee State's halfway down. St. Clair still thinking about it. One more shot coming through, missing its mark. That was a big one too, unfortunately, there for Lazzy. And this is going to be going over uncontested. They're going to just try to push this mid lane. If they're quick enough, they may be able to get some turret damage done. They're going to finally do some and then run for the hills. I think that's the bot turret that just went down, so they get something out of it. Don't go down completely for free. But yeah, Trick getting picked out there was definitely a little bit misfortunate.
Yeah, it's just, you can't be there. You know, with the Baron coming up and your team not in position, the jungler is putting your jungler in harm's way like that is just really, really dangerous, especially when you know Baron is the only objective on the map that Shawnee is looking at contesting, right? They have the soul pressure, but Dragon's not up yet. All that was left was Baron. So it's just being aware of what your opponent wants to do with their lead and getting yourself in a position to respond to it. And unfortunately, getting caught out like that means that the Baron goes over to Shawnee completely uncontested. That bot lane tier 2 going down, though, from Frez's split push does mean that there is an opportunity for Yule to get a pick. But here, again, Trick getting caught out of position. Jerbear diving onto Trick and then rotating onto the backline. They're keeping the damage off. There was a dive onto Godzilla Leaf, but it's not enough. Frez getting turned zombie mode. He's going to do some damage, but Jerbear diving in with the stopwatch proc. The ace in the hole comes down. Everybody is low, but the Dragon's going to go to Shawnee here more than likely. Lozzy is still full HP on the side when he doesn't have a way in. The Morgana cube coming down. Caitlyn cleans it up over the wall. The Ziggs bomb. They do get the trade back. Actually, a steal for Trick, but he gets picked off. Lozzy gets a double kill in the backline. Here comes the curtain call. Starts the ulti, gets flashed on by Morgana, but Caitlyn's just going to run at him. And after the flash comes down, it's just Lozzy resetting to base, and there's not much else he can do.
Holy moly, was that ever scrappy. Trick, able to still get the dragon, was able to steal it, sacrificing himself for it. But a lot of the members on the side of St. Clair really overstaying their welcome in that scenario. 2 of them, or Anspo specifically, went down. But Tricks makes sense considering he's still the Drake, but not all hope is lost. This lead is slowly staying firm here for Shawnee State, but St. Clair still about the same amount behind, just about, what, 5,000 gold right now?
It's 5,000 gold, but it's 11 kills, which means that St. Clair is doing a decent job of farming themselves back into this game. Frez has a 60 CS lead on his top lane. There's a farm lead in the middle lane as well. These champions are getting pretty strong, and this is kind of that pivotal moment now that the Baron has expired where St. Clair needs to take decisive action and get themselves back into this game. Look for that fight. Their inhibitor is respawned. It's now or never for St. Clair. I apologize. The Baron has not yet timed out, but it's coming to its end here, and it's going to be looking to regroup before that next Baron. The Dragon Soul won't come up for another 5 minutes, which means that Baron is the next big look on the map. And with that bot lane tier 2 turret being taken down by Frez in the previous Baron fight, St. Clair might actually find a way back into this game.
I'm actually quite surprised that we don't see very much grouping here from the side of Shawnee State. If this is meant to be poke and siege oriented, they've been looking for more scrappy, brawly kind of plays. Not even with a little bit of poke beforehand. I feel like there's just an execution misplay here from their team composition. They should, in theory, at least in my opinion, be grouping up as 5 and getting ready to start pushing some of these additional objectives, some of these turrets, maybe an inhibitor, especially with the mid one being wide open. And they are grouped up right now, so they might be starting to think about it, but not going towards a turret anyway.
A couple big items were completed for Shawnee there, and more than likely what they were attempting to do was kind of complete some of these mid to late game big core purchases before they go for this group. They are grouped up as 5 now, but we see the Randuin's Omen being completed for Arctic Wolf. We see the Mercurial Scimitar being completed for Mitch Fortune as well, which is going to keep him alive from the Trick Sleep and from Frez's dives as well. The Leandries is completed for Humble Gamer, which is a nice little damage boost, but without that death cap, it's just poke at this point. There's no big end game burst, so all the carry potential currently is riding on this Caitlyn, riding on this Hecarim, and as that Hecarim is falling off, St. Clair might be able to do their damage, but Yule with a little bit of a position over extension here, getting jumped on by Arctic Wolf, rooted inside of the Ziggs bomb. Yamspo getting pushed in. There's a massive sleep coming out from Trick though, and that's a lot of damage. The curtain call comes out from Lonzy. There's one goes down. Arctic Wolf getting taken out in the back. There's the 4th shot there. Not really able to find anything. All the carries for Shawnee are pretty healthy, but Flozzy with a massive shot onto Jerbear here, getting absolutely blown up though by this Ziggs bomb. Oh my goodness, taking so much damage at face value here. And we've got Trick. It's just one man versus the world. I don't see how Trick does this. He is looking for the dive in. Maybe if he can land the W, but the ace in the hole, followed with the Leandri's burn. Does he get it back to base? And he doesn't. Oh my gosh, Shawnee has 4 seconds to break the base before this Karma comes back, but I don't know if Dansko can defend this by himself.
It's going to be tough, especially since Mitch Fortune is already still so healthy. He's going to be able to take the 1 turret. The other 2 players are just basically being bodyguards at this point. Godzilla Flip trying to bait him out. Metsu is going to get caught out, taken down. There is one more that's going to be Yule trying to get in here as well. The Ziggs does go down, but Mitch Fortune still tearing away at the players and now at the Nexus. Lassie trying to come in with the save. They may be able to stall this just a touch as he finally get the shutdown onto Mitch Fortune, but that Nexus is down to under, or just about half HP. Arctic Wolf trying to chase down Lassie. If you can somehow clean this up, that would be a huge disadvantage for the side of St. Clair, but their cavalry has arrived. Arctic Wolf finally going to get cleaned up. And out of this, of course, so much damage done to the base of St. Clair, but they're still alive and kicking for now. Just got to watch out for those mid lane super minions.
Unfortunately, with the Nexus open against such a violent siege comp like this, with Dragon Soul being a contestable objective, even though they found that kill onto Mitch Fortune, it kind of looks like St. Clair is just delaying the inevitable here. If this Dragon fight goes sour, it may be a way back in. Trick looking for some poke onto that Scuttle Crab, but Jerbear smites it away safely. Here's the blue buff take coming in now. It looks like we just got an upgraded overlay here, and Trick actually managing to take that dragon away. It's not doomed.
Wow. That is something that's for sure as we see the camera go a little bit wild on us. Baron is back on the table here for possibly St. Clair, or Shawnee's right there. They're going to actually get it started right away. It's a little bit eager. We do see Jerbear Smite ready and waiting, has ulti available. They're just about a quarter way through this health, or the Baron's health, and they are already within striking distance of contesting this. Godzilla Flip nearby. That's going to be the bomb coming out from Humble Gamer. Pushes them aside. Yule caught out with Misfortune, but is going to at least chunk her down the half. But here comes Jerbear. Uses the ult solely to get rid of Yule. This is going to get scrappy. It's not exactly a full team fight on anyone's side right now. In fact, Shawnee State completely ignoring the team fight. They're going to try and opt to go for the base push. Lazi is there alongside Frez and Mansfu. Trick has finally jumped onto Fortune as well. Frez finally going to go down. Ace and Hole going to take down Mansfu. All up to Lazi, and I don't think he's very long for this world. Gets popped, and so does St. Clair's flawless streak as they go down to Shawnee State Bears and moving themselves into a 2-1 position in this tournament.
Man, what a back and forth game. Like, I mean, it was mostly in Shawnee's favor, but there were so many opportunities where St. Clair could have just, like, walked up and taken those fights, that there were so many times where people just walked away with like 2 HP there. Lazi was massive at the end there. He was like two-shotting everything, but there just wasn't enough attention being given to that Jhin as your hyper carry. Yule getting caught out before the start of that fight really put St. Clair in a bad position going into that base defense there. I don't think the Baron play was too off-center. I think forcing that Baron is fine, but without having that mid lane shoved out first, you're just inviting them into your base. Just a series of unfortunate events for sure. I think Shawnee played their draft very well. They knew what their win condition was and they played to it. And St. Clair just needing to polish up a little bit how they want to approach that team composition with Yule on that Lucian mid. We've seen him do well in lane, but there's some tricky situations where these fights don't go the way you want them to. And how does that affect the rest of your team? And obviously in this case, Shawnee knew how to abuse those openings and found themselves a 3-0 lead in this tournament currently.
Yeah, they're going to be moving themselves in, of course, that fantastic position, sitting on top of the group, possibly tied for it, depending on what the other matches look like. But I feel like Shawnee State even had more room for like execution perfection. Yes, they won this one, but like we were mentioning during the game, this was meant to be like a siege comp, poke comp into like go button engage. But it was just it was basically just a brawly pick comp, the way that it was played. And granted, a lot of that was due to like catching a lot of St. Clair players off guard, so you might as well try and pick them out. But this could have been way worse on the side of St. Clair. They gave it a fighting shot, but unfortunately going to fall to Shawnee State. And maybe sometime, if we do end up both making it to Sunday's matchup, that we will get the rematch versus them. But we'll have to see when we get there. For now, I think it's lunchtime, thankfully. I know I personally need it. But, Shadi, it sounds like you do have some stuff of your own happening afterwards as well. So I want to give a big thank you to you for doing so much commentary here with me today and making this entertaining.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to be here and join you on the desk. I do have actually, my club team is playing their CSL match today at 3 p.m. So I'm going to go and support them. But thank you so much to everyone for watching and supporting our St. Clair team and for giving me this opportunity to host these games. And best of luck to the Saints Gaming League of Legends team moving forward for the rest of the Drury Esports Invitational.
Thank you very much. And then, of course, good luck to the CSL and the club, or to your club team in the CSL as well. Definitely going to have to pick your brain a little bit about how everything went on later on today. But for us here in the tournament side of things, we've got until about 3 o'clock. So we've probably got about 15 minutes or so before our next matchup. I'm going to keep the stream running, I think, for now, just with the timer on. But lunch break for us. We'll get right back into the action at 3 o'clock. Not 100% sure who the opponent is. I'm going to check that right now as I quickly squirm to find that out. Because, of course, this puts us 2-1. Now puts us up against Milligan University. Where are they currently? Milligan is tied for us now. So 2 wins and 1 loss each. And if we're cutting this group in half, we definitely want to win this one going into our next couple matches. But for now, unless there's any final words, I think we'll close out.
No, thank you so much, guys, for watching, and we'll see you after the break.